I'd like to introduce to you Deborah Leamons. Deborah, you had a crazy childhood from what I hear. My goodness, your father was an alcoholic, and your mother would take you on rides. What was that about?
Well, my mother would take us on rides to go find my father because she knew that he was with another woman. She wanted us to know what my father was doing.
Okay. All right. Absolute craziness in this abusive home. And there was one bright spot. What was that?
Well, we had a neighbor that invited me and my younger sister to go to church. And of course we said yes, because this would get us away for the weekend and we wouldn't have to deal with my mom and dad.
Now, your interest in church sort of waned over the years as you looked at the evil in the world. Now, when you're 16, your family moves from New Mexico, where you are, to North Carolina. They get to North Carolina, they realize the schools aren't good enough for you. You've always been very studious. And they decided to send you back to New Mexico, and they put you on a bus.
Yes, a Greyhound bus.
And sitting right behind you on this bus was what was he doing?
A gentleman, he was in the military.
Okay, and he was known as he would catch your eye when you would go to use the restroom occasionally. At one point, what did he say to you?
Well, why don't you just come sit with me?
And you began to get closer and closer now together, and you're sort of falling for him.
Yes.
Now you're supposed to be going to New Mexico. What happens?
Well, he says, well, why don't you just get off the bus and spend a day or two with me and we'll get to know each other. Well, I did that, but I never got back off the bus.
Where did you get off?
I got off in Georgia.
Okay, she didn't make it back to New Mexico, and you got married.
Yes.
Okay, and
I got married because I knew that if I got married, I would never have to go home.
okay, wow. And so here you are. You're married to this guy, and it seems wonderful. And then, especially as you're pregnant with your second child, what is?
Well, we had one child, and his parents had always told him that if he ever had any children, that they would disown him. So he decided after I had the second child that he was not going to have any more because his parents were more important than I was. So he tried to kill me.
Okay, so you're pregnant and he's trying to kill you, trying to stab you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Again, crazy life. Now notice, hang in there. Don't anybody leave right now because it seems all horrible. It'll get worse before it gets better. Now, finally, you're able to leave this guy. You get a divorce. You meet another gentleman.
Yes.
And you get married.
Yes.
Okay. And he seems wonderful.
Yes.
Okay. And what happened with him?
Well, things were good. I already had 2 children, and he had 2 children, and he decided that as years go by that I was not good enough for him. He wanted a younger woman, so he left.
Okay, so you were married 18 years to him, and in the tail end of that relationship, you met another gentleman.
Well, yeah, probably about 4 months after I had left my first time. I was still going through the divorce, but I met this gentleman at a bar, and I told myself I would never get married again because what was marriage anymore, you know? So I decided that, okay, well, we can live together. I got pregnant, and we had twins. But in the meantime, before I had the twins, I was pregnant in October. I had the twins in December. In October, my sister had gotten a staph infection and died. And this really devastated me.
And this was in addition to having lost your father already.
Yeah, I had already lost my father, and my sister had died, and then I had the babies, and then my mother died 2 months after that.
Okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So it was very depressing. I wanted to live with my kids, but yet I didn't want to live because I had anyone else.
At this time, you went to the doctor. You were having some challenges at work and with your health. You went to the doctor, and what did you find out?
I was feeling sick for a while. I was having constant headaches, but of course I thought it was stress. And they told me, no, Deborah, you have cancer. You have brain cancer. And,
Okay, so you were given the diagnosis of brain cancer. You went on chemotherapy. You're dealing with this, and you can't even hold your children during that time, can you?
No, the medical stuff that they were giving me, the chemotherapy, would just deteriorate my body that it hurt for anybody just to touch me.
Now, one bright light during this is you had a younger sister, am I correct, that lived on the other side of the country.
She lived in Florida, and we had really talked to each other. We had both gone our own ways, tried to get away from mom and dad, and we never even got in touch with me. She did not even attend my mother's funeral.
Now, you got a call. Tell me what.
Well, I got a call from her, and this is during the time that I was really depressed, and I was going through chemo, and she says, "Hi, Deborah." I'm sorry. This is your sister, and I love you. And so we had made a date to get together in July. This was a date.
Okay, you're planning to get together in July, but then you got a phone call from her husband.
Yes. I got a phone call telling me that my sister had a brain aneurysm and was not going to live.
Now, you ended up talking to her on the phone, and you were hoping that she would get through that.
Yeah, she had actually come out, which was a miracle because I prayed, but during the time that she was, I was able to talk on the phone because I could not go to her. She had told me that she loved me, but of course she didn't make it.
Okay, so you've lost two sisters, both parents. You have brain cancer. Now, I understand that also you had, actually that's a little bit later, isn't it? But you're dealing with this absolute crazy stuff going on in your life. And that's when, I believe it was a stepsister that was younger, older than you?
No, I have an older half-sister. She lives in Sacramento. She's always been a Seventh-day